Hi, I'm Debbie Harbeck, and I'm a certified life coach working with women in midlife and through the menopause transition. So each week, I'll be sharing the latest information, inspiration, and generate some momentum so you can move forward and feel more in control of your changing midlife body and your life. Let's go. Hi, and welcome back to the podcast. And today I'm continuing to talk about exercise in a different way. Last week I talked about SPC, so small, powerful choices, or squats, push-ups, and crunches or core. So that is one way to get this kind of foundation in. But today I want to talk about swimming. Not because I want you to start swimming, but I want to talk about my swimming habit because I'm learning a lot about showing up at the pool, especially when the temperature outside in this past week has been very cold. So minus 20 degrees C and below. And yet I still got to the pool at 6:30 a.m. and got in it. So I'm just learning about myself. And so I kind of want to break it down for you to help you find your identity in exercise and so that you can create this exercise habit for yourself because I know anybody can do this. It's not just me. So I'll just set the scene. It's 6:05 a.m. It's minus 20 degrees C. It's still dark outside. And I am standing in my kitchen. I'm eating a banana and I'm thinking about getting into this lukewarm pool. And honestly, I don't even want to. I don't even want to, even a little. But honestly, I've already walked the dog because that's what I do on these mornings first. And of course, it's a quick walk because it's really cold, not just for me, for the dog. And yeah, that wakes me up a little bit. But the thought of going from the outside, this freezing cold air, to then sliding into a relatively cold water pool at 6:30 in the morning kind of sounds insane. And I think my partner would agree with that. I think he thinks I'm crazy when he sees me go. And yet I do go. Most of the time I go. And today I want to talk about why. Because when I really looked at this pattern, I see that it reveals something important about all of us, about how to get things done, especially when motivation is low and life feels really full. So the first thing that I noticed is that it has to challenge you. So whatever it is you choose to do, if it's swimming, if it's, going to the gym, if it's going out for a walk, it has to be somewhat challenging to you. And I don't mean just physically challenging. And in fact, it doesn't even have to be that physically challenging at first, for sure. I mean that it should challenge you mentally. It should challenge your old ideas, first of all, of what exercise looks like, because we have these really outdated ideas of what exercise should be like. Or maybe we have perfectionist tendencies that things have to be in a certain way, very, very rigid. Or we have expectations from others that we're carrying around, or how others might perceive us. But it's also about challenging yourself to get a little uncomfortable by doing the thing you don't necessarily feel like doing. And that's me getting ready for swimming in the morning. I don't really feel like going, but it builds identity and it builds strength. So each time I walk onto that pool deck and I think, this is uncomfortable, and then I get in anyways, I win. That mental edge, that matters. Research on habit formation shows that effort plus completion builds belief and trust in yourself. We always trust ourselves more when we do hard-ish things, not extreme things. I don't mean doing crazy things, just things that require a small override of your comfort. If it's too easy, it doesn't change you. And if it's too hard, you'll quit. And I have quit many times when things are too hard. So the sweet spot, like this morning swim for me, sounds like I don't feel like it, but I can. And that's the difference. So the next thing or the second thing you need is to feel competent. And this is huge because there's something called the self-determination theory. And in this theory, one of the core drivers of motivation is competence. It's the feeling that you're capable. So I swam competitively when I was younger. it's been over 30 years, but I did compete and I know how to swim. I feel strong in the water, and that matters. If I were forcing myself into a workout where I constantly felt behind, confused, or embarrassed, for example, like Zumba for me, which I've tried and felt completely incompetent, I definitely wouldn't leave my house at 20 below zero to go to a Zumba class. Not a chance. That doesn't mean you have to be an expert at the type of exercise you choose, but you do have to feel at ease and capable at least. That's why walking is a really great place to start for most of us because competency fuels consistency. And of course, with consistency, then you can venture into things that push the boundary a little, but build the consistency first by starting with feeling competent. And then thirdly, there has to be flexibility. So here's what I don't do when it comes to swimming. I don't say, if I miss Monday, I've failed. The truth is that if I sleep badly or I feel sick or life is really messy on that day, I will skip my swimming. And because I skip on purpose without any drama, I don't spiral. I get up the next day that I'm going to swim and I just go. I know that when I'm rigid about getting it done, that totally kills my consistency. And of course, there's data to back this up. Research on adherence shows that all or nothing exercisers are more likely to drop out completely after a missed session. So flexibility really keeps you in the game. So for me, my target is 3 swims a week. I don't care about what days they get done on, and some weeks I don't even get to 3. But I always come back because I don't look at it as failure. I always trust that I'll bounce back next week. So 3 is a target. It doesn't mean I always hit the target, but it's a target. So have a target, have some sort of goal, but don't be so rigid as to feel like you failed if you don't meet that goal. So the fourth thing is talking about goals is there does have to be some sort of goal. There's got to be like a performance goal for, so in swimming, it's got to be like a certain number of laps or total weekly distance or how long I swim for. Goals just give me direction. And when I have direction, there's less friction when it comes to showing up. So even small metrics matter. When I know I'm aiming for 2,000 meters, I don't negotiate every 50 meters to keep going. I just keep going. Even if I go a little slower or I change up my strokes, I'll get to the 2,000 meters most of the time. The fifth thing is that swimming is part of my identity now, and that is motivating. And I didn't realize that at first, but simply put, I go because I think of myself as someone who swims. I don't think of myself as someone who tries to swim or someone who's getting back into shape. That's totally not motivating. I say I am a swimmer. And when you make that thing your identity, you build powerful habits. And again, this is backed up by studies in behavioral psychology that show that when behavior aligns with identity, it requires, of course, less willpower, so less energy on your behalf. So instead of asking yourself or someone else, how do I get motivated? Try asking, who am I becoming? So you're making it your identity. The sixth thing I want you to think about is your environment. And that matters more than you think. So the night before a swim, I pack my bag. I don't decide in the morning. I decide the day before. I put my goggles, my cap, my towel, my toiletries. It all goes into my bag the night before. So there's no debate at like 6:10 a.m. when I'm about to leave the house, whether I have my goggles or my towel. The decision was made the day before because decision fatigue is real. And in midlife, you're probably already carrying a very heavy mental load. You don't need the added load of deciding this in the moment and being rushed to get it all together. So setting up your environment reduces the chance that you'll back out. And what does that look like? Well, it's like laying out your clothes the night before. It's booking the class or choosing the workout if it's online. It's having a friend expect you to show up, or it's having your favorite playlist ready. All of these things are like an insurance policy to get the thing done that you want to do. The seventh thing is that it has to feel like it's doing something for you. So when I swim, I feel strong, I feel clear-headed, I feel calm, I feel accomplished before 8 a.m. I love that feeling. there's immediate feedback. If your workouts leave you feeling exhausted, inflamed, resentful, then for sure it's not sustainable. Exercise should challenge you, but it shouldn't be a form of punishment. It should leave you feeling great afterwards, mentally and physically. And finally, the eighth thing is that it's not about discipline. And this is where a lot of people have it wrong because they assume I'm just disciplined. And I'm not. I'm not more disciplined than anybody else. I just understand the conditions that make this easier, that make swimming easier for me. So I'll just recap the things that I've talked about here. There's a slight mental challenge, there's a sense of competence, flexibility, so not perfection, clear goals, identity alignment, setting my environment to support me, and the immediate intrinsic reward of getting it done. And I remember that before I go is how good it'll feel afterwards. So when these are all in place, even on mornings where it's 20 below, I can get there. It's not always pleasant, it's not always easy, but there's a really good chance I will show up. So I want to leave you with this question. What would make your version of 6:30 a.m. in freezing weather doable? I don't mean easy. I mean doable because consistency is key. It's not about intensity or punishing workouts. It's about designing your exercise and considering all the points that I've mentioned so that even in the dark, even in the cold, and even when you don't feel like it, you will show up. So, what will you do with this? So, my challenge to you is to design your exercise for this coming week. Again, make it somewhat challenging. Start with something that you already feel competent doing. Build in flexibility so you're not expecting perfection. Create clear goals, not only big goals, but daily workout goals. Be clear about who you're becoming and even make that your mantra. And then set up your environment to support you. This is more than possible. You can do this. Anybody can do this. So I just want to leave you with that today. If you liked this episode of the podcast, I really encourage you to share it with somebody who needs to hear this message. And if you need some extra help, you always know where to find me. You can book a call with me. It's always free. And the link is in the show notes. So I want to thank you for joining me this week. Have a fantastic week. I'll be back with a fresh new episode next week. Have a great day and bye for now. Thanks for listening to this episode of the Midlife Momentum Podcast. If you want to learn more about working with me, come visit me at DebbieHarbeckCoaching.com. That's Debbie, I-E, Harbeck with a C, coaching.com. See you next week.